Hello. Alright, to start, I'm gonna need a train. Here is most of my train, along with Barnaby, for scale. I didn't record me making all of this because I forgot. Anyway, I'll take you along the rest of the ride from here. Yeah, so I used the Chicago L train car for reference. The cars have these ridges on the side, which look cool, and will do a good job at providing the model with texture. I'm gonna be honest, I have no idea how trains work. What even is a train? I don't know. But I do know how to copy things that I see from pictures. Kind of. So there's these little fin things at the top of the train cars. They look kind of cool and they were very easy to create, which is my perfect formula for what to make in Blender. And I still take 2 months between videos, somehow. Okay, I don't know why I went on that tangent this soon in the video. I think most people clicked off, which is fine. Now it's just us. Okay, so the train. Yeah, so door. I added a door, like, to the front of the train. I already added the ones on the side, but you didn't see that because I forgot to... Yeah, I really should have recorded me making all that, huh? Probably would have made this video flow a lot better, but I'm not gonna stop pondering on the past and get on with it. Like, geez, this guy, am I right? Gah, wait, I guess I did record the side door part. Okay, well, alright, the train in my reference image is kinda scuffed here. I achieved this effect in Blender by making a second texture for the scuffed part and painting the wear over the model with help from Blender Secrets tutorial, then making that second texture poop stain colored. I added more wear around the rest of the car too. Alright, this is the part where I make the subway station part of the subway station. I'm making the back wall of the station brick because brick gets you like the most amount of detail and the least amount of work, at least if you use one of Polyhaven's awesome textures. I made the floor a tile texture and added the yellow safety line at the edge of the platform. I couldn't figure out how to make the dots along the warning line a texture, so I just modeled them in actual 3D. It's not the best solution since it uses a lot of geometry and causes a lot of lag, but I didn't feel like spending hours on the dots of a yellow warning line, so I took the computing hit and moved on. I thought the pillars in this picture looked cool. Please ignore everything else happening in the picture. So I added some to the scene. I also made these bolt things to go on opposite sides of the pillar. I also added this scratched metal texture to the pillar. I probably got it from Polyhaven, but I don't remember. Probably is from Polyhaven. Polyhaven is my best friend. I put up walls around the platform and set the camera angle. I kept like slowly making the camera lower to the ground over the course of making the whole scene, and eventually just on the ground a bit later into the project. I made the walls on the train platform brick as well, because brick is awesome. I wanted the walls of the platform to be a bit darker though, so I mixed in a dark reddish brown color into the brick texture. Since this wall is going to be pretty close to the camera, I didn't think only relying on the 2D texture was enough, so I enabled displacement, which will make the wall actually 3D on the displacement map that came with this brick texture. This uses a lot of computing power, but it's worth it for the extra realism in my opinion. To act as a buffer between the wall and the floor, I added some tiles across the bottom of the station and made them black to better fit the vibe, if you know what I mean. I'm sure you do. I wasn't sure what to do for the roof of this place, or like ceiling, I guess. Would the roof of a subway station be the ground? I don't know, but I looked at this picture I showed you about 2 minutes ago, but extremely cropped in, so it's basically like you've never seen it before for inspiration. And by inspiration, I mean pretty much just made exactly what was in the image. I put the same tiles that are on the bottom to the top and made them white to nicely pack everything together. Everything was looking a bit flat, so I just made another wall in the back. I had to extend stuff and fix the UVs and everything. I don't know why I did it this way. I can immediately think of a better way, but I'm not gonna backseat Blender myself, so I'll just let past me do whatever this is. Alright, there. I liked the look of these benches in this picture. They look really nice up against the brick in my opinion. Maybe not the most comfortable, but I applied a nice rock texture to it and spaced out the benches in groups of 3. I was working on the ceiling when the wall back there started putting me to sleep. It was so boring. I guess the magic of the brick by itself wore off. This is so sad. So I made a crazy curve to spice it up. Well, I mean, it's not that crazy. I mean, I'm not a brick mason, so I couldn't tell you, but I don't know. I had some problems with the textures. Probably something with the angles or something like that. But yeah, I fixed it. Yay! I put this really long wall here and got this garbage can model from one of my past projects to bring into the subway station next to the benches. I made the trash cans green, smoothed up the edges, and duplicated them a few times across the platform. The long wall thing was completely unrelated to the garbage cans. I just did not know where else to tell you. And I really wanted to show it because, by God, that is a long wall. I got these kind of matching signs put over the bins. Shout out to Smart Signs and Sego Signs. I imported the images to Blender, cropped it to fit the signs themselves, and beveled the edges to match the curve of the signs. I added some bolts that match the hole in the signs to look like they're being supported by something, and made them a quick scuffed metal texture. I didn't just want some trash signs on the walls though. Well, like, the signs aren't trash, they're saying where to put your trash. You get it. I don't need to explain this to you. Like in this picture, I wanted to put up advertisements along the wall, except there's no free promo in my videos, except when there is. So I wanted to find some fake ad posters. I could not find any fake ad posters, so I had to make my own. And by make my own, I mean go to this website and slightly edit a few of the templates. Wait, was that free promo? Dang it. I made this restaurant poster for burgers and fries without any fries. A life insurance poster, specifically the Best Life Plus insurance for your family. And this movie poster, starring Brent Brentford, Kenny Kentford, and Owen Wilson, in theaters now. I downloaded the, okay. Now that I had all the posters in Blender, I made some frames to border them. Well, just one frame that's duplicated. I gave the posters a texture with some noise to give them some wear. I also brought in a subway map and gave that a frame too. I wanted to use a fake metro map, but I couldn't find one, so I just settled on the New York City subway map. Until this point, I've just been using faces with a light texture on them as stand-ins for actual modeled lights. You wouldn't be able to directly see most of the ceiling lights anyway, but they could be visible in reflections, and also I would just feel better if they were fully modeled ceiling lights, so I got around to making those. In my reference image, there's like a lot of pipes and other miscellaneous tube-like objects on the ceiling, so I just added like a bunch of random cylinders that lead to nowhere, some with this rough white texture and some with a more metallic texture to mix things up. I put these supports up so it doesn't look like the pipes are just magically floating, even though they are, because Blender is not bound by the physics of our universe. If it was, I think it would be a lot harder to do anything. I spaced out the supports to go on every one of the lower bits of the ceiling. It's time to go back to my roots, aka the beginning of this video, and start working on this train again. The interior, this time. I needed to model this interior because, like, the windows, but also in the full animation, I'm going to have the doors open and close, so the interior is going to be very visible. Did I even mention that I'm making an animation out of this? I really don't know. I could literally just scroll up and read the script that I am currently typing, but I do not want to. Anyway, yeah, you've been watching me model the interior based on these images of Chicago trains. Since the trains will be moving fast, well, sometimes, you'll see later, I downloaded the Shakeify add-on made by Ian Huber and Nathan Vegdahl that adds realistic camera shakes to your Blender camera. I don't even know if adding camera shake to this render would make any sense, but I've just been looking for an excuse to use this add-on, I'm not gonna lie. I tweaked the settings to only rattle a little bit when the train goes by. I correlated the camera shake with the animation of the train pulling into the station, which I animated right after I added the camera shake. I am terrible at animation, so even this extremely basic linear animation took like a couple of hours. But I think the result turned out pretty good. I looked at some videos to make sure I got the timing close enough. Right now, each car is completely disconnected from each other, so I looked at some references to see how the cars are connected in real life, and I guess it's just like a couple of chains. I don't know, I just thought it would be a little more complicated than that. But yeah, they were easy enough to make. I parented them to my main train model. I couldn't join it as the same object as my train model because then there would be extra chains on the back of the last car that connect to nothing. I finished up the interior of the train by putting these yellow rubber handles and some metal handlebars on the train ceiling. I thought the platform needed a couple more details, so I browsed the Polyhaven models page and downloaded this utility box and security camera. I put the utility box in this far wall next to the tracks and put a small red dot on the security camera to signify its recording. The camera is watching you. The camera can see everything. I made this sign telling you where you are, and this sign telling you what color line the train is on and its next stop. I imported this camera model that I used in my making a nature scene video, also from Polyhaven, to go where the Blender camera is. The idea is you might be able to see it in shadows. I don't think that's gonna happen, but you never know. I finished up all of the animation, got the file ready for rendering, realized it would take an incredible amount of time to render all of the about 1,500 frames that all of the animation consists of on my single laptop at about 10 minutes per frame. You can do the math on that one. So instead, I got my Blender file ready to upload to Sheepit, a free render farm, and the whole thing was rendered in a few hours, if you don't count that I messed up some aspects of the render like 3 times and had to do it all over again. Anyway, that was an extremely long run-on sentence. The full animation with the entire cycle of trains with sound effects is on my other channel here. Oh god, this is gonna be really awkward if the video isn't shown on screen. Okay, well, I'll also put the video in the description just in case. Also, it's not actually an hour long, it's just like an 8-minute cycle that loops. Don't tell anyone though, it's a secret. Goodbye.